Greg asked a question. He says this: I recently revisited an episode from a while back when you talked about focusing on a different type of training for each season. He summarizes it with spring running in the spring, sprinting and running in the spring, bodybuilding in the summer, Olympic lifting in autumn, and powerlifting in the winter. Boy, if I said that, I'm a smart kid, because that's not bad. I really like this idea, and I think it would be good for me as the kind of person who is always trying to chase every rabbit he sees. That's great. My question is regarding the autumn Olympic lifts. The autumn Olympic lifts. Thank you, Greg. That's lovely. I never really train the Olympic lifts and don't always have a place where I can access the kind of gym I would need. Do you think I could substitute kettlebell work instead and just focus on similar qualities? Yeah. Then he says he's got some ideas about, doing the armor building complex, doing the Olympic lift versions, the same thing. I like that. And let's just say it this way, Greg. Let's just do that. Let's just go with that. I'm just going to run with your ideas here. Can you substitute all your training with just kettlebells? Okay. Well, let's run through your list here. Let's start with let's start with the Olympic lifting in the autumn. So Olympic lifting, the autumn program would be, so in the autumn, instead of doing some of the stuff you're talking about, how about that, take a month in the autumn and do the 10,000 swing challenge. That's the, 500 swings a day for 20 days. Will you get the benefits of an Olympic lifting program? Well, yeah, especially if you, in between the sets of swings, you add some vertical presses, any of the vertical presses in the kettlebell world. I think you're gonna have a pretty good little workout there. You're gonna get most of the benefits of my usual Olympic lifting programs. And if you decide to do goblet squats in your warm-up, that's not a bad little month, 1 month. Maybe after that, I've got, over at DJU, I've got classic conditioning in 10 months. You could do 2 rounds of that, very organized kettlebell workouts. I think there's 10 moves. So there's only 10 exercises in the program. There's a conditioning day with kettlebells. There's Tabata days with kettlebells. There you go. Classical conditioning in 10 moves on 1 month. The 10,000 swing challenge the next month, and classical conditioning in 10 moves. There's your autumn, and it's not bad. You say powerlifting in the winter. Okay, so let's stick with it. If you're just using kettlebells, those 3 months would be those hard workouts where you do the double kettlebell front squat and double kettlebell vertical presses. Probably the double kettlebell press, okay? I like the idea, as I've stated before. You do 2, 3, 5 in the double kettlebell front squat, or 2, 3, 5, 10 if the weight's too light. And you wave it in. You just take the 2 bells, clean them, set of 2, set of 3, set of 5, set of 10, set of 2, set of 3, set of 5, set of 10, 2, and you try to get your numbers up to a higher range. I would suggest if you do the 2, 3, 5, that's sets of 10. So you'd want to be in that area of anywhere from 30 to 50 total reps. If you're doing the 10 with lighter weights, I have the workouts where I try to get up to 100. So 2, 3, 5, 10, 5 times. With the press, you can follow the exact same template, and there you go. There's your there's your 3 winter months of you're gonna go heavy, go hard, and go home. Those 2 exercises by themselves are illuminating. Now you'll notice haven't done any hinges, which brings us to spring. Now spring comes around, and for 3 months, I'd like you to focus, if you can, if you know the exercises, on the Turkish get-up and the kettlebell snatch, because we're trying to get you outside to have a little spring in your step and get going. I'm just sticking with the template the way you wrote it, Greg. But in the spring, maybe I've got that RKC prep program over at the site, but maybe you just want to follow like a snatch only. So, I would suggest 1 day a week doing lots of snatches. So anywhere from 100 to 300 snatches, depending on how, how good you are and how insane you are. 3 days a week, Turkish get-ups, or, do it like Pat Flynn says, do it for time, like 10 minutes, and then snatch. And then get out and get your running, your sprinting, your hill work, whatever you decide to do. After those 3 months of front squats and presses, the Turkish get-up, the snatches, and the sprints are going to feel a little different. And of course, once you get to the summer, it's time to look good. I would say once a week to the armor building complex. That's double kettlebell clean for 2, 1 press, 3 front squats, bell down, repeat as many times as you can. And wow, do that 1 day a week. Do your winter double kettlebell front squat, double kettlebell press 1 day a week. Do your Turkish get-up snatch day, another day of the week with the sprinting. And then get out in the sun and enjoy yourself. Greg, that's just off the top of my head, but that's not bad. That's not bad. In fact, and my highest praise is pretty good. And I would say if you did that, that's a pretty good program. So can you substitute all your training with kettlebells? You certainly can. Real quick, if I can remember everything as best I can, if you decide to have a year-long template with just kettlebells, in fall, autumn, classical conditioning in 10 moves, go to Dan John University. 10,000 swing challenge, month 3, classical conditioning in 10 months. The winter months, got excited. Double kettlebell front squat, double kettlebell press, 3 days a week, 2, 3, 5, or 10, up to as many reps as you can get done. Mix in, hard days with medium days with light days. Spring comes around, 10 minutes of Turkish get-ups, kettlebell snatches, get out there and get your sprints and your runs in 3 days a week. Summer, armor building complex on 1 day, your winter double press, double squat day, the 3rd day, the TGU snatch day, and report back to me in 365 days. I hope that helps. That's a pretty good little program, and